Alright, everyone, I've been doing a lot of the Yue characters recently, so I figured this week we're gonna go back to Mondstadt and talk about some of the characters there. This week we're gonna be talking about Fischl. The fun thing about Fischl and some of the other Mondstadt characters is that their names in Mandarin are just the phonetic spellings of what the, I guess, like English or like, in this case, German names would be. So I had to actually ask a couple of German friends of mine some of the for some help on some of these phrases. I came up because they found out that Fischl's full name, is Fischl von Luftschloss, and apparently Luftschloss is air castle. It's a phrase for someone who has a vivid imagination that they can build castles in the air. So her title, 断罪皇女, the English side is Prinzessin der Verurteilung. So it's like princess of like condemnation or something. It's like to condemn or to pass judgment. A princess who does that. I just want to point out that it was an interesting choice for them to use Huangnu as princess. Huangnu, literal translation, is like royal girl or royal woman. And usually when we do princess, we say 公主. Her constellation Corvus means crow. The Mandarin one has an extra character on it, Huan. Huan is like illusion. I think this one is kind of like referring to the fact that Oz doesn't really have like a tangible body that you can touch. It doesn't seem like he does. At least when I'm playing, it just seems like you can pass through him and he doesn't have any, I guess, like physics to him. So in that sense, he is like a Huan. He's like illusionary.
A wonderful sight indeed. Why, it reminds me of my homeworld, where at the sight of the Prinzessin der Verurteilen, the very blood and tears of sinners turn to ice. Achoo! Achoo!
Not only their blood and tears, but also their saliva and mucus, mein Fräulein.
Oz?
这可是好光景，就像在那个世界，罪人的血与泪在断罪的皇女面前凝结的模样呢。
面对小姐，罪人的鼻涕恐怕都要凝结了。
All right, so this one, I don't know why they say mucus and saliva. The Mandarin one is like snot, like literal snot. So it's like when Oz says like his line, it's in front of you, miss. The criminals like snot, I'm afraid, are gonna get like frozen. And I think that's like Oz's way of sassing her that she's like a cold woman or something. And that's why you have her going, Oz, ah.
Ozzy, my dear familiar.
Ozzy, what's gotten into you?
Her Majesty beseeches you to unfurl your blessed wings, and with them blot out the heavens, plunging the world into eternal night.
If you didn't bring your parasol with you, that's your own fault, mein Fräulein.
奥兹，我之眷属啊，
哦，怎么突然？
以皇女之名，以你的祝圣之意，遮蔽日月星空，带来永恒的幽夜吧。
不要强人所难。
In this conversation piece, Fischl and Oz are having a conversation, and there's two parts here that I want to point out. The first one is Fischl calls Oz her familiar, which sets a different relationship than the Mandarin one, where she says 我之眷属. 眷属 means family, and while I think familiar, some people who play tabletop RPGs would consider like familiar as part of the family, but there's still like a leader follower relationship kind of thing there, I think. Junsu is specifically like my family member. And then you see Oz's reaction is he kind of is okay with being called a familiar because he points at Ozzy. And in the Mandarin one, he's like, huh? What? Like, so there's that disconnect between the first half of this. And then the second one is the part where he says, you didn't bring your parasol with you, that's your own fault. Oz's response in Mandarin is 不要强人所难. 장은수원안 is kind of like a Chengyu, or like a set phrase again here. So 장은수원안 means to make somebody do something that they are unwilling or unable to do. So she wants him to like blot out the sun, I guess, and bring out like like eternal night. And he's like, I can't do that.
The stars of firmament are naught but rifts, thrust open by Oz's beak into the boundless tapestry of darkness.
You do say the strangest things, main Fräulein.
天穹上的星光，都是奥兹在无尽的夜幕上啄出来的洞。
是才怪了。
I feel like for this one as well, it's actually Oz's personality that doesn't get transferred properly. And this one, he says, "You do say the strangest things," but his response in Mandarin is like, "Ah, 是才怪了." It's like, yeah, right. So I think in the Mandarin, he kind of sasses her a little bit more than in the English one.
Osvaldo von Hafnavines, I, the Prinzessin de Verurtelang, sovereign of the Immernachtreich, do hereby call upon thee to do all within thy power, to deliver the traveler from the claws of fate that would seek to snatch them at every turn, and to ready thy mind lest thou be required to make the ultimate sacrifice in the performance of this noblest of duties.
You'd place my life in danger so easily, main Fräulein?
奥兹华尔多·赫弗纳范因斯，为幽夜净土的主宰，断罪的皇女，做好献出生命的觉悟，守望她注定多舛的命运吧。
不要随便让我送命啊！
All right, so this one we have two more, I guess, names and places that aren't going to be fully English. So Oswaldo von Hrafnavens, my German friends tell me it looks like someone just headbutted the keyboard to get this name. And Immernachtreich can, I guess, be translated loosely to like Kingdom of Eternal Night, where it's like 幽夜净土 is like quiet night, like clean land, like just basically a very calm kingdom of night, I guess, would be how I would kind of describe when someone says 幽夜净土 to me, I would think of, oh, it's a nice calm place that's very quiet at night permanently. The one phrase that didn't transfer across well is the 送命 part. 送命 means to like give your life away, so it's not really like placing his life in danger in that sense. It's like, no, you're actually like telling them to like go die.
Oh? You inquire about my Edelstein der Dunkelheit? It is a royal heirloom, a ceremonial ornament that displays the majesty of the Prinzessin der Verurtelang before the unworthy. Even here, in this fallen world, I have been reunited with my rightful inheritance as one of royal blood and noble spirit. For the majesty of a true princess shall draw her royal heirlooms unto her wherever so she may roam.
这个渊色的幽邃密珠吗？那是我族的王气，向一切无礼者昭告断罪皇女之仪。即使流落到了这个荒芜的世界，王气仍然追随着皇族之血与崇高之魂找到了我。这就是无法斩断的因果吧。
Oh, this one I want to point out because I actually really liked it. The Edelstein der Dunkelheit is like gemstone of darkness, and I think that is pretty cool because it's the translation is 原色的幽邃密珠, which is like a darkly colored, deep and serene secret like pearl or like gem. So I just really like this one. I feel like if I want to talk about things that I don't do well, when they do something that I like, I should also talk about it. I think the one point that they didn't really bring out in the Mandarin one into the English one is that the eye or the vision actually finds her. 找到了我 is the phrase. It's like so and so found me. So even though in the English version they say she says I've been reunited, it doesn't imply that the vision somehow went to her, and then the Mandarin one does.
One finds Sister Rosaria to be a most devout believer in the Animo Archon.
Devout believer, main Fräulein?
Indeed. One night I heard her invoking the name of the Archon thus in another's presence. May you be struck down in the name of Lord Barnabas. One presumed that she was leading a prayer.
她吗？似乎是前信封神的忠实修女呢。
前信，忠实。
没错，有天晚上看到过她对什么人说：“以封神巴托巴斯的名义去死吧。”这样的话，想必是在领导吧。
I think this one says more about Rosaria than Fischl. So the English is, may you be struck down in the name of Lord Bartibos, which is wrong because I think it's Barbados is the correct pronunciation, but they carried this through from the Mandarin one because it says Ba Tuo Ba Si, where it's Baba Tuosi is the actual name of the Wind Archon. And instead of may you be struck down, Rosaria just says 去死吧. When you say this is teaching a little bit of rude phrases. When you tell someone to 去死, you're literally telling them to go die. So it's like, in the name of Barbados, go die, or like, go to hell, is essentially what she's saying. So I don't know where they get flowers for Princess Fischl from in the first half of this title. 费舍皇女夜谈. Yetan is like night talk, or like another way to say some sort of like legend or story. If you remember the Xiao video I made where he makes the comment about 天方夜谭, where that's like, oh, you have such a wild imagination. It also is the name of the book for 1001 Nights. So when you say 夜谈, it's the literal translation is like night talk. So it's like a story that you would, I guess, like tell at night for like a bedtime story or something like that. So it's closer to something like that, not flowers for Princess Fischl. And Phantasmagoria is mapped to 极夜幻想组曲. 幻想组曲, I guess, is the more fitting one for Phantasmagoria because that's like a collection of imagination, and 极夜 is like deep in the night. So for some reason, a lot of the references to night don't get ported over into the English translation, at least in the title. And that's really all I saw in the translation differences for Official in the lore parts of what I saw in her character. There's a lot of like references that you can find about her for like relationship to like Odin and Oz and all that fun stuff, but that is really not my lane. I don't think I have the expertise to talk about it, but I definitely encourage you all to look that stuff up and find some other content creators who are also doing something similar to me, so we can appreciate the work that these writers do to bring some awesome stories to us. And that's it for Official's Lore chapter. I hope you join me next week for the Combat chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends.